Hello everyone! It's time for the first video of Virgie's Summer! I'm excited! We're gonna do the video, you know that one, you know the one, you know which one we're doing. We're doing that video. It's not very long, so this will be a fairly short video to kick off our Virgie Summer. But I think it's good to start with the infamous video. And you'll notice that I have something different on screen today. This is my first ever fan art, and I love it. They go by Snuff here on YouTube and Sea Lemon on Instagram. And we're actually going to take a look at their Instagram at the end of the video here, if you want to check them out. But I really like this. They said that when they first saw my icon, they thought it was a devil nut, and it was only later that they realized it was a scale. And I am living for this. I love this because I think it's a pretty good representation of like the fat activist's worst nightmare. It's the devil scale, and I love it. So yeah, this is what you're gonna be seeing for my commentary portions of the video today. But without further ado, let's get into Take the Cake.
Hi, I'm award-winning fat activist and professional feminist killjoy Virgie Tovar, and I'm here today to talk to you about an epidemic that's affecting women everywhere.
I realized that she said she's a killjoy facetiously. Like, she says that as kind of a gotcha, I'm gonna ruin your fun sort of moment. But she's a killjoy not in the way that she thinks she is, though. She's not a killjoy in that you're pointing out problems that take away people's fun because they realize it's kind of fucked up. You're a killjoy because you make mountains out of molehills.
It's called CRFI. If you're like many women, you've been to a birthday party or a small office gathering, an event that's meant to bring people together.
It's meant to bring people together, but like if it's a birthday party, it's mostly about the kids, and the adults are just kind of there to support and facilitate relationships between their kids. They may or may not be friends. And then when it comes to office stuff, everyone's there to just be kind of light and happy and all that, but it's like not a whole lot of the people actually want to be there. Let's be honest. You may be trying to bring people together, but let's not pretend that this is a big happy moment that you're about to ruin with your diet culture bullshit. Let's not pretend that it's that. Alright? It's not like everyone loves being at an office party.
There's swinging tunes, some adult beverages, and good convo. And then it comes time to cut the cake, and someone decides to ruin everything. Oh my God, that slice is huge. That slice is bigger than Beyonce's paycheck. Can you?
No one's gonna say that about a slice of cake. Just saying. And most people aren't even gonna say, wow, that slice is huge. Like in that super judgy way. They'll be like, oh, that slice is way too big for me, or something like that. I mean, I'm not saying that they wouldn't say that slice is huge, but they're not gonna try to sound as judgy as possible.
Could be half of that. A cake-related fatphobic incident, or CRFI, is that moment when it's time to eat delicious cake and it's interrupted by a moralizing impulse. Inevitably, there's always someone at the party who has to declare publicly that their slice is too large, and that the person...
They're not trying to declare it publicly to be morally superior or any bullshit like that. Maybe they just want a smaller piece of cake. I don't really understand why that's such a big deal if you ask for a smaller piece of cake. I actually showed this to a family member, and they're like, it's not a matter of being moralizing, but it is somehow rude to ask for a smaller piece of cake for the person cutting the cake, and I'll even get more into that in a moment.
Who's cutting the cake, almost invariably a woman, must do some disproportionate amount of labor in order to accommodate their need to feel superior.
See, I don't get that disproportionate amount of labor. Then fucking hand me the knife and I'll cut my own damn piece of cake. For the record, I actually don't have a huge amount of experience with there being like someone cutting the cake. Typically, for me, what happens is it's left in the staff lounge or like people are gathered around. Someone cut the cake beforehand. Most of the time, it's a Costco cake and there's like bits of frosting that separate everything out into squares. So everyone cuts on the lines of the frosting for the cake. And if you want half of that, there's a knife right there. You fucking cut your piece in half and you take half. Like, that's just how everyone should do it. How about that? How about you fucking pre-slice the cake, and if someone wants half of that, half a cake slice, just leave a fucking knife there, and they can cut their piece in half. It's not about feeling superior. It's about, and this is the family member I shared this saying, no, you are asking them to be your food police. No, you're not. I don't think so. I don't think you're asking them to be your food police. I don't think you're asking them to monitor your sugar intake. I think, one, it's about not wasting food. There's some people that will invariably want more cake, and there's some people that want less cake. So you know what you do? The people that want less cake, cut their piece of cake in half, and that gives people that want maybe more than one slice, but not another full slice, can take the other half of piece of cake. Everybody fucking wins. Why is that an issue? Why is that a fucking issue? And this disproportionate amount of labor, and it's invariably a woman that cuts it. How about everyone just cut their own goddamn piece of cake? Like, be considerate. Well, better yet, fucking pre-slice the cake. Why are we not pre-slicing the cake before we present it to anybody? Why are we forcing some poor schmuck to stand there and cut the cake as part of, like, entertainment? Like, let's see how even they can make the pieces of cake as they go when there's a huge line of people and everyone wants cake. How about you pre-slice the fucking cake?
Let's take a look. Can you do a little bit, just like, can you like scrape all the frosting off and cut it in half and give me 2 forks because I'm sharing? Small, like a little bit more, like tiny, no, like less than what you're, smaller, please.
Could you just cut my piece into 12 equal symmetrical little pieces and put each one into a tiny little Tupperware so that I can have a bite for each month of 2018? Thanks.
Smaller.
Like, it's, I understand the point is to kind of be hyperbolic, to try to highlight the ridiculousness of asking, but I mean that's the issue, kind of it devalues the point you're making because you have gone so hyperbolic. No one is asking anyone to cut them a smaller piece of cake and slice it and scrape off all the frosting and then cut the cake in half and then give them 2 forks. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments, but I have never heard of someone, if they're asking for a smaller piece of cake, they're like, can you give me, I've heard that when I was a kid, that's like the only experience I've had when people were cutting the cake. And one person said, can you give me half of what you've been giving everyone else, because they were diabetic. There was another person that said, give me like a sliver, just like scrape this. They were also diabetic, but they were like on insulin. They were like severely diabetic and they just wanted a taste, basically. And I have a lot of diabetics in my family. Generally, when we're portioning out sweets, if you want more, you have to ask for it. Because in general, everything is kept pretty small because there's a bunch of diabetics in my family and they can't have a whole lot of sugar. As far as scraping off the frosting, you scrape off your own frosting. We have frosting fiends also in my family who are not diabetic. And so for those that are scraping off the frosting for either health or personal choice reasons, it doesn't fucking matter. They scrape off their frosting before they take a bite, and then the family members that are frosting fiends come and take their frosting, and everyone's happy. Everyone's fucking happy. And then I understand that this is a little different if it's like an office party, because then that's a little familiar for an office party, but it's not hard to just say, can I have half of what you've been giving everyone? It's not a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal. And I don't think there's like this major disproportionate amount of labor.
Let's take a step back and view what's happening through a critical feminist lens. CRFIs typically happen in environments where there are primarily or exclusively women. Women are disproportionately negatively affected by diet culture because diet culture maps onto sexism. Like many parts of diet culture, there is a significant performance component. You have to show others that you are being good. Controlling how much you eat is part of what it means.
Or maybe you just want less cake. Sometimes I just want less. Like at not office parties, but when there's like sweets and stuff out, I will often take less because I know when my fat ass gets home, I'm gonna want something sweet. Because that's actually something I'm trying to train myself out of. But, like, after a long day, sometimes I want just a little something sweet. So far, I've gotten it to where when I get home, I have half of what I would normally take, and I'm, like, slowly bringing it back. Now that I'm on summer vacation, I'm probably going to have fewer sweets. I've noticed that stress is kind of a trigger for me craving sweet foods. It's not about performance. Sometimes people sometimes it is about performance. There is that one person in whatever workplace you have that has to be like, I'm on keto. Like, where they're doing something new or a new fad diet, and they gotta let everyone know how amazing it is and how all of this, everything that goes into it, even if you don't ask. That type of person is in every group. But here's the thing. I don't think it's a moralizing impulse. I think it is kind of similar to those that, like, always brag about their designer sunglasses or handbags or whatever just for health. Like, it's about clout. Regardless of whether, like, it's not maybe there is a moral component. Look at how awesome I am. But I think the big focus of it is to get attention, and it's not necessarily about the diet itself. It's about, look at this cool thing that I'm doing. Look at how trendy I am. Look at how this is really strict. Look at how hardcore I am. Look at whatever. Like, that exists for just about every subject under the fucking sun. And it's like it's not gatekeeping, but it feels like it belongs in that family. Do you know what I mean?
Means to be a, quote, good woman. This kind of behavior is a way for people to keep other people in check through food moralizing, surveillance, and policing.
I think you entirely care too much what other people are doing. I'm not trying to keep anybody in check. If I just want a smaller piece of cake, I just want a fucking smaller piece of cake. Honestly, you get far more pushback when you're like, no, I want less. Like, my last day of school when I first started in education and when my first para job, it's the last day of school. There was a fight between new PTA and old PTA because there was drama going on in the PTA, and it became into a war over teachers and staff love. And so old PTA brought in a bunch of pastries and stuff, and they were here first. And so I had a lemon bar because I love lemon bars. And then new PTA brought Ben & Jerry's truck that gave us fucking whipped cream and hot fudge, and then you could put a brownie and a cookie on top. I was trying to eat healthier, and I had, like, not done well that week, so I had the lemon bar, and I thought that was all I was going to have, and then I saw the ice cream, and I was like, ah! And one of the teachers kept pressuring me to, like, go nuts, and I'm like, I don't want to go nuts. It's entirely too much sugar for me. Rather than getting the 2 scoops that we were allowed, I got 1, and I put just a little bit of hot fudge on it and a little bit of whipped cream, but someone kept trying to be like, no, take the brownie, take the cookie. I'm like, I don't want the brownie and the cookie. You are far more likely to get pressure to take more food than you are to take less. Like, if someone's taking less, they're seen as more of a killjoy than anything else. Like, sometimes people just want less. How about we just stop looking at other people's food preferences? How about we let people enjoy the food however the fuck they want? If they're being very noisy about it, then yeah, that's kind of fucking annoying. But how about we just leave them alone?
These are the mechanisms that are at the core of diet culture and weight control. The idea that you can position yourself as superior to others through self-control and self-denial is super sexist. CRFIs have...
So, self-control and self-denial for whatever reason, is sexist. What? I guess it's not for whatever reason, specifically related to food.
The history of creating a hierarchy among women and ultimately in maintaining misogynist expectations. Watch how this woman demonstrates a different way to engage with cake. Thank you. No thank you. Practice just taking the cake slice you're given or simply saying no thanks. Don't make other people be your cake nanny because women already have too much on their plate with a sexist.
So this is something that my family member actually really liked. She's like, yeah, just take the cake or don't. But here's the thing. If you just take the cake that you're given and you, let's say, eat half of it and then you leave the rest, it's far more wasteful. I think this is where a generational play comes in, because it's like, as someone who doesn't like to be wasteful, like I would much rather cut someone a smaller piece of cake and then save it for those that want more. Sometimes people are like, oh, hey, is there some left over? Can I take it home? Then they get to take it home. Why waste food? Why waste the cake because of this weird invented social situation? Like, I don't understand that.
Culture, navigating underwhelming romantic options, and an absurdly inexplicable pay gap. So remember, the next time that you're on the verge of committing a CRFI, be an ally to women rather than an accomplice to patriarchy. Because, after all, patriarchy doesn't give a fuck about you, girl.
It's such a big leap. I want a smaller piece of cake. You are being sexist. You are indulging in the patriarchal male gaze, fucking whatever. I don't remember her exact language, because there's a lot of rhetoric in this video that is entirely unnecessary to someone simply asking for a smaller piece of cake.
It's so rich. It's so rich. It's so rich. It's so rich.
Does this make anyone else uncomfortable? This makes me uncomfortable. I don't like this. What the fuck? This is far more uncomfortable than someone asking for a smaller piece of cake. If someone's moaning over how rich the cake is, I have a bigger problem with that than someone asking for a smaller piece of cake. But this is Virgie. She sexualizes food. That's going to be a common thing we see.
It's so rich. It's so rich. Okay, I think that was pretty good.
So that was the Take the Cake video. This video ended up a little bit longer than I expected, so I hope you enjoy it. I think that this whole thing is dumb. I don't think that there's anything wrong with asking for a smaller piece of cake. I don't think that you are indulging in beauty ideals or being a good person and moralizing a food decision. I think that's stupid. I think you're simply asking for a smaller piece of fucking cake. And you know what? I have a solution for everyone. Pre-slice the fucking cake and leave a knife there for people that want less. Boom. I solved the issue. I solved the fucking issue. Cake comes late. No one look at the fucking cake. Someone cut it real quick. And then everyone takes their own goddamn piece of cake. Make sure that there's like a spatula or something there. Everyone sanitize your hands before you touch the tools. But everyone takes their own goddamn piece of cake. And if you want a smaller piece of cake, you cut a piece in half or however the fuck much you want. Boom. Boom. Problem solved. I solved the cake patriarchy issue. This is so dumb. And this is the first video for Virgie of our Virgie Summer. So let me know what you thought. We're going to be looking later this week at her book and her podcast. Next week, we're going to take a tour of her website. Lots more to come. Let me know what you think so far in the comments down below. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. So I signed off and then I realized we didn't look at Sea Lemon's Instagram yet. And I really want to look at it because they have some really cool stuff. I love this. It's such a cute Pokemon. I love it. This is really cool. I am a sucker for wolves and foxes in art. I love the blue. I love the design. Like, this was cool. This is a cool slug. Or snail. Sorry, snail. It's not slug, it's a snail. But I think it's a really cool design. And I really like... But they... Oh, wait. They have even one that's even cooler. They call it a self-portrait. It has, like, some very near Junji Ito vibes. Like... Am I wrong? Like, it's clearly body horror, and I live for it. I love it. I love it. And then there's right next to it, which is really funny, is this soft fox. It's a Pokemon. I don't know all my Pokemon anymore. But it's very cute. It's well done. I think the art is well done. Another fox. I love them. And as you can see, I'm not very good at being like, here's some cool art. I'm not very good at narrating. This one, I love this. I'm also a sucker for birds. And, like, the flame work here, the line work, I think is done very nicely. I love this. And so, just a quick tour. Check them out. Follow them on Instagram. The link will be in the description down below. And now I will officially sign out. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.